Hey everybody, welcome to episode 32 of It's Just Bodybuilding. Big Ron Partlow here, of course, with my co-host Dusty HANSHAW. And on today's episode, we got Coach's Corner and listener questions on It's Just Bodybuilding. So here we are, Dusty. Episode 32.
They still love us.
Yeah.
Still pretend to. Now they're stuck at home, so they're definitely going to fucking watch.
It'll be interesting to see if the views go up or down.
People start to actually listen. They're like, these two are terrible.
Yeah. No, just everyone out there, remember to subscribe, like, comment, or share. Obviously, all those things help us out a lot. And we really appreciate everyone growing the show for us on Instagram and all that stuff. So we're just going to keep on rolling. So thank you very much. So today, Dusty, normally we have a guest on, we stagger. So today would be a guest episode. But we have a guest next week instead.
Yes.
Because it's, kind of hard to schedule all these people.
Yeah, we locked it in. We'll probably have, I think it looks like we're going to have at least 2 weeks in a row with a guest.
Okay, yeah.
So, because I didn't want to kind of stop that.
Yeah.
It's like if pretty much anybody because I have a few, as you know, pretty specific about, like, especially right now, who I want to talk to. So I'm pretty stoked on who we've got lined up, and I think our listeners will be very, very excited as well.
Yeah, no, they should both be really good guests, so I'm looking forward to them. So you get us twice in a row, and then you get a guest twice in a row.
So if you guys take these 2 losses early, you can get those wins.
Yeah. Take the losses now. Here's loss number 2 coming at you. So obviously, I don't want to spend the whole episode talking about all the COVID stuff, but situation in Arizona right now, what are you allowed to do?
So right now, which is useless to me, damn it. We can do takeout food. You can't dine in anywhere. Grocery stores, all that stuff is normal. People are still able to go to work in the places that aren't affected by that, like bars and things like that. But it's definitely hammering. The gyms are closed, things like that, which I understand. I don't like. But my thing, and I'm going to just be real brief, like you said, is I had already said that I have a hard time with knowing I'm going to kill the economy for this possibility. But now that decision has been made, I wish people would stop with the bullshit. I mean, I follow enough of I say kids, but, early 30s, late 20s that go to my gym and stuff. And to see them just essentially living spring break every day makes me sick. Like, I put a post about it the other day. I'm like, you know what's going on. So now, I'm watching them do drinking games where they're drinking out of the same drink and pictures with 10 people on top of each other. I'm like, are you fucking daring it?
Yeah.
Like, because the part that I don't appreciate or agree with necessarily is already done. So once that's been decided, I say everybody locks them fucking selves in the house, get this thing gone so we can move back forward. The longer these businesses are down, the more fucked they are. Like, if they could sign up and say, hey, if everyone sat in your goddamn house and literally did not leave for 2 weeks, this will be over. I still think people here would go out because they're fucking dumb.
Right.
Like, I would not leave my house. If somebody said, you just do not walk out your front door, I'd be like, okay, I can do that. 2 weeks, no big deal. You know what I mean? And I really think so. For here, what's coming, I hate to say, but I assume is we're going to have an executive order and we're going to be forced. Because we're just not smart enough to do it ourselves.
Right. Now, one of the things I get all that. I agree with you. Once they made the decision, you just have to do it. I have a real problem with the decision to, shut down the economy, basically.
For sure.
And when you say that, people go, "Oh my God, you don't care about people." No, that's not what it is at all. It's not that I think we should do nothing.
Right.
I think that we should be the social distancing is the key, keeping away from people, not touching, not shaking hands, washing your hands, being very careful. If everyone reduced their chance of getting it, like by not touching people and not standing close and not having conversations with everyone where you're spitting when you talk and without hugging people hello and without touching stuff and then touching your face, your chances are like not over 90% reduced to get it. And that's an enormous drop. And if everyone could drop their chance of getting it by 90%, we could still keep walking through the stores 4 feet apart from one another, and we could still keep doing our thing. Mm-hmm. But like you said, there's these people that aren't just keeping their distance. They're fucking piling on one another and having these massive beach parties. And this is going to be the next wave, you know, of infections. And it fucks it for the rest of us. I mean, I can easily not touch anyone and stay 5 feet away from almost everybody, not go to the malls, not go to, like, I could do all that. If everyone just did that, businesses wouldn't have to close.
Yep.
But it's just so fucked up.
You know, it's weird though. It's a worldwide phenomenon of stupidity. Because I think it was James or someone else I follow from the UK. They took a picture. Or they posted, they might not have taken it, but they posted a picture of the boardwalk of a beach.
Yeah.
And there were, I mean, it looked like spring break. Like it was like not a care in the world. And I'm like, that's the problem. Like, there's I feel like you've got two sides of this right now. And tell me if you agree. You've got those who are so uber over the top, afraid this is going to kill us all. And those that are like, I'm invincible. Well, your mom's not.
Yeah, they're both wrong.
You know, and that's kind of the stance I have is, you know, same with you, except for like, you know, I told my mother because she's got not major health issues, but enough that it would be questionable.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, if you need anything, you know, I'll Zelly you money, but you're not going to see me until this shit's done.
Yeah, like essentially, this is how I think. I'm very clean. I wash my hands a lot. I use hand sanitizer. I'm a germphobe. I don't touch doorknobs with my hands often. I mean, sometimes you're in a rush, but I'm pretty good. I'm careful. I'm super careful at the gym. I never fucking touch my face at the gym, ever. And I wash my hands. Like I'll train chest and then I'll wash my hands.
Right.
And then I'll train triceps.
Right.
and then I'll wash my hands again. And I'll wash my hands before I train. And that's normal. That's just me normally.
Right.
So if everyone just lived like that, we wouldn't have this problem. We wouldn't have to shut down the economy. How often do you get sick, Dusty?
I don't.
Right. Some people get sick all the time. And they're like, oh, I don't know why I get sick all the time. And they're like fucking touching shit and touching their face. So it's you know, reducing your general exposure on a daily basis. If everyone just lived with less exposure, we would, you know, be better off. That's why Italy is so bad, because they have a pretty old demographic. Like they have a lot of old people, and the old people, and a lot of smokers, and most of the old people live with the family.
Right.
So, you know, you like if I get it, I come home. If I were to get it, there's a chance I might not even give it to Emily.
Right.
But if I lived with my 80-year-old grandma,
yeah,
you know, she's probably going to die.
Right.
So that's one of the problems with that, you know, 60 million people in that tiny little country. So then there's just a proximity issue generally.
Yeah, that's what they talk about is the number of people per square mile.
Yeah.
Is obscene there versus here.
You know, so I'm angry that it got to this point because it didn't have to.
Right.
You know, I don't blame the politicians for possibly panicking and doing what they're doing. I don't blame people for looking at the stats and going by the numbers. I don't blame anyone for what's going on right now. I just wish it wouldn't have got to this point. It's fucking nuts. I can't believe, like, didn't we just joke about what would we do if there was the apocalypse? Would we lock ourselves in the gym?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, what,
who would we bring with us? And yeah, that was 5-6 episodes ago.
You know, like joking
that was
about
not
it.
supposed to be foreshadowing. God damn
You know, boarding up the windows and fucking, you know, like, holy fuck, like I'm like days away from that. If they announce a stay-at-home order, I had taken a fucking mattress roll down to the gym.
It's funny, but I get that's the, you know, I mean,
You got a fridge, you got a microwave.
Yeah, fuck. What else you need? No, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. I think, but like we said, here's the thing I think you have to drive home at this point is this is where we are. So people wake up, do all those things, and just use your head so we can all get back to normal. Because if you really do like your local restaurant, your local gym, all these other things, it is our responsibility now to save them by slowing this down, flattening the curve. So, you know, look, like I said, and I took some heat on the last episode because of my stance. My stance hasn't changed. It's just now we're here. So now there's new rules. So now we got to play differently, which means, okay, fine. Those things are already done that I didn't like. So fuck it. Lock me in my house. I'll do my thing. And in 2-3 weeks, can we all bust our asses to get into these businesses and get cranking again?
Yeah,
You know?
we got to really support the local small businesses when they reopen.
And when they're closed, man, I'm really disappointed at how many people that I know who own gyms and tanning salons and stuff that literally the moment this happened, people, you know, affluent people calling and canceling their $80 tanning membership.
Yeah.
It's a month. You fucking kidding?
Yeah.
And by the way, the tanning is still open right now, but no one's going, obviously. But am I really going to cancel my $80 membership? So what? So that when it's all back to normal, the tanning place that I like is no longer there? I get it if you can't pay your fucking bills, but $80, you're not even going to think about that. Like, so let's just go ahead and keep these businesses open, you know, or larger corporations forcing, you'd love this since you've owned an independent place. I got a friend that owns gyms. Their parent company made them return all payments from this month and not accept any more until this is back to normal. That could end your business right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That put you so far in the red.
Because think about it, you still paid your employees. You still got another paycheck coming, even if it's a partial. You still got to pay rent in however many days.
Yeah,
and now you lost money and
yeah.
You know, so it's like, are we trying to kill ourselves? Like,
yeah. I do get what you're saying. The some of the comments I've seen on the West Coast page have been really awesome. I mean, we are going to pause. We're going to pause everything is what we're going to do.
Right.
You know, we did get some good news about, you know, at least April, you know, for the gym. So, you know, we're going to pause everything, just pick up where we left off. But it's funny because there's been a lot of comments on the Facebook and messages coming in going, please don't pause my membership.
Yeah.
You know, but people asking if we can, like, they're like, I don't want to pause it. Like, I want you guys, like, there's the last thing I want is to not have that gym to go back to.
I need to go home after work before I go home.
Yeah. And you know, that's really nice to hear at least. So, we know that. I think, you know, I don't know, the gym's going to be fine, man. We get reopened. If everyone who comes back, you know, maybe buys a shake every day for a couple of weeks or buys a hoodie or something, it might help us out. But yeah, we're gonna make it through April. So I'm fully expecting, even if they loosen up, even if they allow us to kind of, you know, like you said, you're getting a lockdown order here, stay at home for how long?
No, I just think it's coming. They haven't yet.
You think it's coming? Okay.
But I really think it will because we're so stupid.
Yeah. So even if they do like maybe a short stay at home or something, I think that the businesses that are closed, like the bars, restaurants, gyms, they're going to be close to the end of April. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I just don't see them, even if the curve like flattens right out, they're going to be afraid to let their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're ready for that. So that's
they need to see it fall. These are going down.
Yeah, that's what they want to see. But there's some good news. I don't know if anyone looked at my story today. I mean, it's not awesome news, but the Canadian curve was going like this, and then today it has a hitch.
Right. That's huge news for those who understand it.
Yeah, and so that hitch, obviously, the trajectory, if you continue the data, you know what I mean? So I think we're onto a good thing. So people asking if we're overreacting. And I do actually think we are overreacting as far as what we're doing to the economy. Because like I said, if everyone could behave themselves, we'd be fine. But obviously we got to make up for idiots. So now we're going to just burn it all down, Dusty.
Oh, we're outnumbered, so.
But yeah, so anyways, that's my take on it. We'll wait this out, but it will be our finest hour.
Hey, the bounce back will be good. And as our transition into what people actually want to hear us talk about, it's pretty sick to see people realizing what we have now.
Yeah, so what about the gratitude part of it?
Yeah, I mean, that part's been cool, is watching people realize exactly what we have that you don't think about. You know, because I mean, I put it up the other day. I'm the first one to admit, and here, I'll be honest, my life hasn't changed. I have a key to the gym. I have, like, everything is literally the same. The only difference is there's no one else in there because it can't be. But outside of that, man, it's still like when I go in, I'm not just grateful that I'm going in now. It's a realization that, like, man, I pop in here like, because it's been there since I've ever been into bodybuilding. So like I never thought about the day that the gyms wouldn't open. What the fuck is that? Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
You know, so that part has been really cool. And then watching some of the gym owners and the things that they have done for their members in these smaller places, like loaning out equipment for members.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I would not do that. But hey, good for you.
Yeah. We had a lot of people ask if they could borrow a bar or something, and we're like, oh, Jesus, there's just too many of you. Like,
yeah. Well, that's the problem, and that's kind of the issue that's why, you know, even with the gyms here, like, you know, everyone wants to be able to go in right now, and they can't break the rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my gym is very much not open. I have a key. I come in the back door. I close the back door. I train. I lock the back door. I leave. You know, so there's no one else there. So there's totally within the rules, and I think that's the problem. Of course, I had many people hit me up, knowing that chances are I would have somewhere to go, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, that defeats the entire purpose of the whole thing. You know what I mean? But good to have people that also understand this is actually how I make a living. So while they can't make theirs, they're helping me make mine, which I appreciate. you know. Yeah. So how have your clients been, man? I mean, mine have been rock stars. We're doing shit at home. For a lot of them, I'm just having them take 2 weeks off. But I swear to you, so I have a lot of clients. I initially, when this thing happened about a week ago, when we were sitting here, I'm like, I'm gonna lose 10 or 15 clients.
Right.
Like I just immediately, just math. I was like, that's probably what's gonna happen. I've added 3.
Oh, really? That's funny.
And I've lost 1.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
And the one that I lost, it was just last night. Harvey.
Oh my God.
My rice is here.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I ordered 25 pounds of rice. Harvey, zip it. Come here. Come. Kill him later. We got to do this show.
You ordered 25 pounds of rice.
Yes.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's what I do. I usually only get 15. One second, I'm going to mute you so I can yell at him.
I love how his mouth moves and no sound comes out. I wish it was like that more often.
Gotta get a little fear. Yeah, so does everyone else. I'm pretty sure that Mutant is like, God damn it, the sound came out again.
Yes.
No, but yeah, it's been great, man. I mean, everyone's on point. We've changed the diets. I don't know about you, but I had to work my ass off this week, because I redid every single person's program.
Yeah,
and that's a large number.
I've got a group of people I'm sending stuff to today.
Yep.
Because over the weekend they kind of got back to me with like what they had access to. You know what I mean? Like I've been asking all my clients, you know, what do you have a squat rack, access to a squat rack? And do you have anything, you know, and so they sort of all messaged me what they had and what they were kind of doing. And some of them had like a few days where they could get into their condo gym before it closed, you know, so they were good for the weekend.
Yeah.
But today I've got a bunch of stuff going out. I did lose some clients though, because they lost their jobs.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't know how many clients you have that lost their jobs. I don't know.
Yeah. So, actually, I have one that lost 2 jobs in the same day, and he told me that when he sent his check in.
Oh, that's excellent.
I was like, someone does well with their money. Good job.
Yeah. No, I have some people that are like, hey, man, I just got laid off today, and my show's canceled, and my gym's closed. So can I just like pause my payment for a bit? This is a bit much.
You're like, absolutely not. How could I possibly?
But all the people that I did, lose, I didn't lose them. Like they're gonna send me a set of pictures in a couple weeks and let me know where they are. And as soon as this is over, they're gonna be right back in the gym. So financially, this is really tough for a lot of people because maybe some guy's got like a day job that pays pretty good or pays okay, and then maybe he's bartending one night a week and that's his training money.
Yep.
Yeah,
no,
the clubs
get that.
Clubs are shut and he's got a kid. So now he's like, well, fuck.
You had to think for a minute. Does Ian get to eat or do I go to the gym too?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So there, and then also too, my clients have always been great. I was real worried first couple of days because you're just like, what the fuck? Right. But after talking to people and stuff, people just, who knows? I think our industry might explode when people get back in the gym.
As long as we don't all get arrested from losing our minds, yes.
Yes. You got any questions, Dusty?
I have hundreds, literally. Okay. Yeah. Like I put it up in the middle of the night last night, and I was like, woke up this morning. I was like, okay, we have a few. Whoops. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. Sorry.
We got good feedback on the End of the World movies, by the way.
I watched 12 Monkeys 2 days ago.
What'd you think?
You know what's funny? Like, this is so terrible. First, obviously, the movie is great. But you know what happens to me in those kind of movies? Is the realization that, like, Brad Pitt is a fucking phenomenal actor.
Oh, yeah, and he's young as shit.
I've watched it, like, from the first scene that he's in, and I've actually always really liked him. But you watch that very first scene when he's in the Cuckoo's Den, and you're like, fuck, you're good at this. Because, I joked to you when they handed me a script with Mutant, like, and I'm like, I don't know how to be anything but me. There's no fucking way I can do anything even decent as far as acting goes. Right. So when I see someone like that, I'm just blown away with the talent because you're just like, fuck, man. But the movie was phenomenal.
Fuck of a movie, eh?
Oh, God. And I didn't even realize how old it was.
95. I
was like, holy shit. I was in, what was I? I was in middle school.
And then you got Bruce Willis there.
And he was phenomenal too. Yeah. No,
it's such a weird fucking movie, eh?
It is, but it's like, you're in it. Like, if anybody's watched this now, you guys got some time. Watch that one.
I had a bunch of messages about people that watched it, and two of them were like, I loved it, but my girlfriend didn't know what was going on.
Well, it's definitely not a movie you like drift off and glance at your phone and scroll for a minute.
Yeah, no, it's funny. And then I had a lot of people message me. They were upset that I fucking didn't mention I Am Legend.
I'll be honest, it's not on that level.
You don't think so?
No.
I know 12 Monkeys is better.
Good, but like 12 Monkeys is way better. Like, I've seen that movie recent enough to know. Like, it's good. Okay. What I think it is though is and again it's probably the same thing is because the storyline of I Am Legend is great, but you don't like when I see phenomenal. It's kind of like
there's a lot less acting.
Well, yeah, when Heath Ledger is the Joker, it really didn't matter how good the movie was.
Right, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? So same deal. All right, questions. I got a few locked in here. We got a lot of similar ones that we're going to hit you with, but this one I want to start with just because it's not the usual that we'd be thinking about right now. What exactly do you think about the moment when you're grinding out that like 4 or 5 more reps? Like, what clicks in your mind?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I used to have a line that I would say in my head, this is why I'm here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that thought would flash through my head when the reps started to get hard. Like, that rep on the leg press, it goes up kind of slow. And then, you're like down to 1 at a time at that point.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know, this is why I'm here. Right. And then also too, like, I remember a guy I used to train with when I was younger. He used to say like, he used to say to me while I would be in the set, he'd be like, these are the reps the other guys aren't doing.
Right.
These are the reps the other guys aren't doing. Who's doing these reps? you'd ask, like, who's doing these, you know? Be fuck, I'm doing them, and I'm going to do 2 more, you know? So yeah, like stuff like that. I know it's like, you know, we all got these things that when we're talking about the training, you know, like, you know, JP having his dark thoughts and, you know, I mean, there's lots of stuff that I think about. But as far as like when you're grinding out those last reps, you know, also too, like, one thing that I was told when I was younger was always try to be a good example to yourself. You know, you're a good example for others, you know, a good example for younger people that might be watching you or whatever, but you gotta be a good example for yourself too. So, you know, I always just try to put forth the most effort I can, but that's just, I don't know how to train any other way.
Right.
I don't know.
That's what I was going to say is for me, number one, what Dante ingrained in me is when it starts to get hard, that's when the set starts.
Right.
So he would say like now, which is, okay, now we begin. You know what I mean? The beginning is just that. I don't have, literally, there's no like thoughts. I'm not actually like thinking of words. It's just, it's going to sound stupid, but it's accurate. When you're fucked in the head, that's the part you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
So it's like when
it's
that
an emotional
clicks,
response.
I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? It's like, I kind of compare it to like Mike Tyson says when everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
It's the same. Like when that clicks, just something else, like I call it another gear, happens. You know? And then when you're really locked in, that happens a couple times because you'll grind out, and I'm sure you've done it where you're grinding out and you'll say to your training partner, 2 more. And you get to the top of that second rep and you're like, I got another one.
Yeah.
it's 1 more. And it might be 1 more 3 fucking times.
Yep.
But something happens where it's just you truly are locked into what your body is capable of. Yeah. And I think it's also the reverse of what you think about. What I try to do is ignore my brain. Because it's telling you to stop. It's telling you to rack it. It's telling you it's enough. You know, in most guys' cases, you're already the baddest motherfucker in this gym. You're good. Yeah. No one, you know what I mean? So it's you understanding. This is the thing I think, and you and I know this. Even you and I, we train together, and you're grinding out a set. Only you would know if you left 1 rep on the table.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's why I'm going to watch you squeak a rep and be like, oh, and then you squeak 1 more, and I'm like, nice fucking set. And if you racked it early, you'd know.
Yeah, and also, too, the reason you and I have good workouts is because, you know, I trust you as a spotter so much that, you know, let's say we're doing pendulum squats.
Yeah.
You know how you can spot on that machine with, like, 1 finger?
Yep.
But yet, when you're the guy doing it, it feels like the other guy craned it up.
Yeah.
Whereas I won't, I'll do the rep, and even though it feels like you lifted the whole fucking thing,
right? You
know you just fingertipped, so you tell me you have another.
Yeah.
And then I believe you. Yep. You know, so then you know you do the other rep. So it goes both ways too, you know, having a good partner that, because there's certain exercises, especially exercises that load into the rep, like anything banded or a pendulum or a Cybex squat press.
It gets worse as you go higher.
Thing that gets heavier as you're going up. Those are the ones that feel like the person spotted the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Yeah. You're all, you took it from me. No,
and they're like,
gave you about 3 pounds.
Really, yeah. So those are the ones.
I've had a reverse before. I trained with a guy for a short time period, and so you would squeak out a rep, right? And you might have 1 more in you, and he'd go 5 more, and you're like,
no.
Now I can't even do 1 more because I'm like, is this guy fucking kidding? Like, like, I can't get 5 more if you take it from me. Like, we're not doing this.
Yeah,
I remember I finally had to tell him, like, hey, are you fucking psychotic? Because that's not hardcore. That's stupid. Like, there's no fucking, like, 1 more, maybe, and then maybe 1 more again. Don't tell me 5 more when I already know I'm fucked.
So that's kind of a funny thing. I've trained with a few people who, you know how, like, when you see people training with Charles Glass, and he'll have his fingers on the bar for like the whole set,
right?
And it'd be like, you know, but they're just stopping at 10 on every set.
Yeah.
But you know the person's failing because he's helping a bit.
Right.
But they just go to 10 on every set, or however it seems. So maybe like 5 reps were assisted, or 1 rep was assisted, or 3 reps were assisted.
You don't know.
I can't train with people like that.
Right.
I need to know in my head, like, how many reps I got.
Those were mine.
Yeah, you know, so when you train with someone and like, so I trained with a guy and he does like 5 on his own, and then I spot him on the 6th, and then I spot him on the 7th, and now I'm like, okay, he's done the set, because, you know, I had to like spot, and then he goes 3 more, and I'm like,
I don't want to row 3 more.
So then I just like, we were on the hammer incline, I just rode 3 more reps, you know.
You get a pump in your back. That's good.
And he's like, yeah, sets of 10. I do all my sets of 10. And
no, you did a set of 5 plus 2
5
plus
2 forced reps, and then he did 3 more forced reps. So, yeah, it's just funny. That sort of training is just kind of, I don't know, it doesn't compute with me. I need to know how many reps I got, and then where they started helping, and precisely structured. Like, I don't know why.
We do that when we rest pause. When I get done, because like you said, sometimes you can't tell. I'll rack it and go, was that 9 plus 1 or 8 plus 2?
Right.
Meaning, did you stop me for 2 reps or 1? You know what I mean? Yep, and then he'll tell me, because I mark it in my logbook that way, so I know I got 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we forced out 2, and that's fine, but I got 8, which means I need to get 9 next time. You know what I mean?
There's certain things I make exceptions on now. Like, my training has changed too over the years, obviously. You know, I don't go to as brutal of a fail point on any sort of stiff leg deadlift or hinge hamstring movement anymore. I just need the reps to be absolutely perfect. So it might look like I stopped short of failure there, but I'm feeling like a 1% form degradation.
Right. Yeah. Something's moving. I get that.
So I'm terminating the set, which most people would be like, oh, he just did 8 perfect reps and racked it. But that was the point, 8 perfect reps.
Yeah, ninth rep would have been not perfect. 10th rep might have been shit.
Yeah, and so, or I might have got 7 more reps that looked really good, but to me they weren't perfect. Right. Even if it's that much of a difference, you know, like I'm just not taking those into the kind of the rough zone. And then on pressing movements, because I've got a lot of problems with my one tricep. My training partner, he's just like got me down pat. He just like fingertips, like. It's like I don't hit a real failure. Right. I hit like a mechanical failure because my triceps kind of fucked up. Right. So he'll just
through the tricep, let the pec go again.
So he'll just spot like 5 pounds, and I'll get fucking 6 more reps. Right. And then my pec will fail.
Right. Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
So, but that's why I really like training chest. If I had to pick like one body part to train with my partner, and it would probably be chest, because that's the one where I get the most out of the spot.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, my turn for one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you could only have a 1-car garage with some gym equipment in it, what would you put in there? Good question for the apocalypse.
Yeah, a solid question right now. All right, for me, it's relatively easy. I would put a rack.
Yep.
Because I can do everything in it.
And an adjustable bench that goes flat to chair.
Yep. And then, I mean, realistically, plates, shit ton of them.
Even if you only let's say you only had 8 plates. Yeah. That's still 4 plates aside. You can still squat. You can still do almost everything, except you can't deadlift.
I have space, so I want 16 plates. But anyways,
you can't deadlift, but everyone else is fine.
I can't even row. This is bullshit. You're fucking up my home gym right now.
Yeah, you'd be fine with 4 plates. You could put a grocery bag on each end.
But no, I mean, I think here, the question, the truth is, I don't even need dumbbells. I don't. I need a bar, a rack, an adjustable piece, and some mats on the ground. I'm ready to rock. Because on that rack, I can do pull-ups. On that rack, I can do rack chins. On that rack, I can do rack deads. I can do squats. I mean, on and on and on and on and on.
If you have a bar, then you can do T-bars.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's what I'm saying. So you throw something on the back of it, you're set. I mean, if that was my thing, that's what I would do. And you and I have talked about this before, Ron. We are spoiled to an umpth degree. And it's not that we shouldn't utilize the tools we have, because they're there. But remember what I told you, the first time I went into Dorian's gym, the original temple, and I looked around, and I was like, the best bodybuilder, the top 5 best bodybuilder of all time was built in a gym smaller than my condo.
Yeah. Yeah.
which granted, he single selected the equipment he needed.
Yeah.
But I mean, the gap between what was in there and the fact that I drive to an entirely different gym for legs because I like their leg equipment. So yeah, I mean, if I had that stuff, I would be set. Everything I need. And you also get creative. I'm finding that kind of having some fun with writing my client stuff. I'm like, fuck, man, I forget about some of the things I've got in the arsenal when I have so many options.
Right.
You know, all of a sudden you're like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. Oh, step ups, this, that, or step up, reverse lunge. You know what I mean? You're like,
yeah.
You start writing and realize, like, dude, I can write you 10 workouts with this equipment. Like,
yeah. Do most of them have something? They have like a little bit of something. Yeah.
And then I have a couple that had nothing, but had money.
Right.
So literally, I had a client. He just messaged me. He said, I have $1,500. I said, give me 2 seconds. Jumped online. Okay, you're getting a Bowflex and a treadmill.
Oh, okay. He needs a treadmill. Okay.
Yeah. So it was done. Like, it was like, because he's in the snowbound, he's not going to go hit the streets like I would here.
Right.
And I asked him about that. I'm like, can you just go outside? And he was like, no.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it was like, and it's, people laugh, but when I was a kid, I had used a Bowflex, as in I've been on one, not that I owned one. I could kick your ass on that thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, for sure.
For sure. You know what I mean?
I wrote a few Bowflex programs in my time too. You know, we had clients that had Bowflexes at home and stuff.
Yeah, so it's a totally functional thing, and I think for the majority of people, it's way more weight than they would ever need.
Yeah.
And you can train your entire body on it. You know, so that's kind of been, a lot of these questions have been that to me right now is, what would you buy? And you can get one for under $1,000.
Yep. That's cool. I didn't even know how much they were anymore because I haven't looked at them in ages.
I didn't even know they still existed. But
I got one client.
Brad Rowe bought one.
Yeah.
And I saw that. And I was like, oh, fuck, they still make those.
I got one client that he's like, man, I have a squat rack, an Olympic bar, and 4 plates in my garage. And I never thought I would need them as much as I need them right fucking now.
Right.
And he doesn't have a bench, but he has like a wooden bench that's in his garage.
He's like,
and
this will work.
It's the right width.
Right.
So he just puts a foamy on it, puts it in the squat rack and fucking benches, puts a block under the back, does inclines.
The partial incline, yeah.
He's doing standing barbells with a plate because that's like a good weight for him. He can go to failure. Bent over barbell rows, T-bar rows, barbell curls, close grip bench.
Those rows. Then, I mean, dude, we could just keep going.
Yeah, and then 225. I mean, you could train legs with 225.
Oh yeah, if you start pre-exhausted shit at him, I'd be walking lunges.
He's doing lunges in his garage, and then he's front squatting, and so and then he said hamstring's been the hardest. He's doing stiff-leggeds and sumo stiff-leggeds real slow, and then he's doing he took some foam and wrapped it around like one of the bars on the rack, and he's doing like reverse leg curls,
negatives, yep.
Doing the negatives, using some bands and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's lots he can do, but the fact that he just has 225 and a rack,
right?
And
he's whipping his ass.
Yeah. So one of the main things is obviously all the shows being canceled. That's just fucked. So it's like real. That's bad for business. I had a lot of people that were inside of 8 weeks out.
Well, that would fucking blow.
And their shows are canceled, and I got to send some of them, a transitional diet today just to get them, they don't really know what to do. Like, I'm like, well, your show's over. So, maybe let's hit something in the fall. So let's not get fat, It's
a really tough thing though, man. I mean, like, think about, for you, okay? I'm going to put you in my shoes and ask you a question of my own. So you're prepping for a show that's 16 weeks out. You essentially just start. But you don't really know if it's coming.
Yeah.
And you've got areas on your physique that you could improve on if you just went the other direction, but you haven't been on stage in a year. Yeah. You see it like that mental thing, I think, is what a lot of clients are dealing with.
Yeah. So I told a few of my clients, who have like access to some minimal equipment or whatever. I said, I want you to proceed as if your show is not going to get canceled.
Right.
Because they're like the July shows, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you proceed full speed ahead, because I guarantee the people that win those July shows
didn't slow down,
are the ones who stuck it out through this crisis. Everyone else is like, oh, it's a crisis, so I had a pizza. And oh, it's a crisis, so I didn't train for 5 days, but I'm going to get a Bowflex in like next week maybe if this keeps up.
Right.
Whereas other people were like, day 2, they're like, Kieran, I got a bunch of bands. Like I saw the one guy that I was helping, like he's got water jugs, he's doing like fucking shoulder press water jugs and curling and stuff on Instagram, and I was like,
he's nuts.
Yeah, and I fucking love it. And I would have found a way too.
Yep.
So everyone's doing their best right now. I only have a couple clients that have zero equipment. Yeah. And I told the one guy, I was like, just his show's quite a ways away. I was like, just stay on your diet and do your cardio, and we'll try to figure something out. But don't give up, because the people that don't give up are going to be the ones that walk on stage with shredded glutes in July, if those shows still happen.
Right. Well, I think that's the thing is you got to think long-term and short-term. I think if I was younger in the game, I would immediately go into off-season. And the only reason for that is because I would know I have so much that needs to improve, and I have essentially, barring injury, unlimited time. So at least I can chase this direction. A lot of my clients, what I did is we had been on blast of training for long enough. I literally said, look, the gyms are closed for 2 weeks. Don't train.
Yeah.
You're on this diet now. Stretch, cardio. In 2 weeks, I don't think we're going to be back in the gym, but I think we can get priming, because I think it's going to be about 4 weeks before you're back in the gym. But then and that's the other thing. Anybody who was on anything, I've had a lot of people message me this. What do I do if I was on? Simple, get off. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you're thinking you got a show like right there, dude, why on earth would you stay? And
I just told a few of my clients, I was like, just don't take a shot for the next 2 weeks. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I just have them go down to their normal, TRT, and because I don't see the sense in blowing it through if all of a sudden you're out of the gym for a month. Right. But yeah, no, it's been interesting. It's funny. Because I saw a lot of the pros bouncing back and forth verbally online. All right, I think I'm going to go off season. Fuck. If I start prepping now, you know what I mean? And I'll be honest, I think I've come to realize that the majority of us still have a gym. So it's actually pretty funny how many guys I've talked to and they're like, well, I still have a place to go.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so in that point, I'm like, I reached out to Hollingshead and was like, hey, and his answer, it was so great. I love him because James has got to be the nicest person I've ever met. Yeah. And he goes, fuck it. You have an advantage. Do everything you can right now and get ahead. You know what I mean? And I love that because I was like, and I know that's what he's doing. I know that's what Luke's doing, but it's a great way to mentally switch your directions instead of being like, oh, what is happening to me?
Yeah.
What can you do? You know what I mean?
You have a huge advantage, Dusty. You have no kids relying on you. You've lost no work.
Yeah.
You have a place to live, you have a gym to train at, and you don't really like people anyways. Yeah.
I have not had to wait for any equipment in the gym.
It's the perfect prep. It's like, not only do you not have to see anyone, but people aren't allowed to bother you.
You are not allowed. What's funny, you'll love this. So the gym has all glass front, so I don't even turn the lights on half the time.
Oh, yeah, just straight in the dark. Yeah.
I got a light coming in, I'm like,
well, it's not illegal for someone to be in there. It's still a business. No. It's just closed.
It can't be open to public.
Can't be open to public. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I bring my training partner, but it's just funny because I'm like, the first day I walked in, I was about to turn the lights on. I'm like, it's bright enough. Yeah. I turned the radio up. I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
I filmed the second day, so I turned the lights on. But
I had some people ask me, they're like, well, how are you going to, must suck to own that gym and not be able to train? I'm like, I'm allowed to go there. Like, people are allowed, these businesses, these nightclubs and bars that are shut, there's people in there doing renos.
Of course.
They're painting shit, fixing shit. It's an opportunity.
It's a time. Yeah. It's a time. Your gym will be immaculate even more than ever the day it opens back up. If you were thinking about moving anything, it's going to be moved.
Cleaned, some crazy cleaning yesterday. I went in and I just did some abs and some cardio bullshit. And then I cleaned a couple machines. And then I know one of my other partners, he went in and trained, and then he did some vacuuming. but we're staggering our time so that we can isolate,
Yeah.
Like, obviously me and Emily are, we're living together, so we can go wherever we want together. But, like my other business partners are kind of like, hey, I'm going to come at 9 and I'm going to come at noon. And I'm like, I want 5 to 7,
Right. You know my hours.
Yeah, just that sort of shit. If we go, right? I mean, not everyone's going every day, and we're just not allowed to be open.
No, I think that's the big thing that people miss, because I had a lot of people. Well, how's that work? I'm like, it's not illegal to walk into the business.
Well, actually, I got to correct myself there. The government actually never shut gyms here in BC.
Yeah, so I remember you texted me. Yeah.
Technically, we are allowed to be open, but we would have to follow such a strict head count that it would just be too annoying and too much to manage.
Yeah, your members would look at it as a disadvantage. They sat in line for 45 minutes and still weren't in the gym.
Yeah. So that's it. But and then obviously the risk just became too high for you have to manage people, like if they're lying or not. Like, have you traveled?
Right.
That sort of shit. So I got a good one here.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I got someone just saying, Nick Wilson just saying, thanks a lot for pumping out the content. He loves the podcast. And he just wanted to know about, getting through these tough times, because so many people are struggling mentally right now, but we've covered a lot of that. I know there are a lot of people that are desperate right now because they're just like, the gym is their thing. Like, think of all the people where the gym has saved them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had a message from a guy the other day, and he's like, man, it was a pretty emotional message, right? And he said, I love your gym. I can't wait to be reopened. And then he said, he's like, the gym saved me from blowing my brains out, and the gym saved me from drinking myself to death.
Right.
And he's like, in the last 20 years of my life, the gym has saved me from both those things. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And that was pretty impactful. Right. And you wonder what price we are going to pay. Like, I talked to a cop that I know and a fire guy that I know this week, and they said they're a little worried because they said to me that they went to double the normal amount of suicides this week.
Right. Yeah, and this is the beginning.
And they also had an unusual number of ODs this week.
Right.
Noticeably up, not not 10 times or anything, but normally they get one every whatever, and then all of a sudden
enough that they saw, yeah.
Enough that they were like, oh, it's been a rough week.
Yeah.
And fuck, man, it makes you wonder, eh? And you start, some people it's the gym, some people it's just their business. That without their business, their life is just
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I think there's a responsibility, man. I hope for for the people who are in this industry and have a way, keep creating content. Not selfishly. I know it sounds like, oh, of course. No, give people something to watch, and maybe start thinking about different types of content, educational shit, things that people can benefit from when they get back in. Not, let's be honest, let's just all hope that we never get locked down again for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
But something where there's something to do, because, I think that is a responsibility. It would have been very easy to cancel today's show because, the world is ending. But that's kind of part of your responsibility is to get out there and create this stuff, because as cheesy as it sounds, I know we're not saving anyone's life, but I have messages, questions. What are you watching on YouTube and stuff like this while you have extra time?
Well, that was the next question I had. It is, what are some things you guys are doing to keep your spirits up during this time? And I mean, you're happy as shit.
Nothing's changed. Yeah. But all kidding aside, the one thing that I have noticed is extra gratitude, like we said. And then I am a little extra pissed off at things I'm seeing that people are ignoring, because as much as I say my life hasn't changed, yesterday I wanted to go grab something real quick from the store, and I was like, I don't need to go to the store right now.
Right.
I don't need that one thing that I would always get. It's right there. But it's you got to think like that a little bit if you don't want to be a selfish prick. Yeah. Because if not, you're just living life. And I joke that my life hasn't changed, but,
it has.
One thing I have seen is even I did go to the grocery store over the weekend, and it was kind of cool. A lot of people, how you walk up behind the person, you load your shit on the conveyor belt, and you're right up their ass waiting for it to go. Everyone was gapped.
Yeah.
It was until their shit was off, you didn't put yours on. It was, and everyone just kind of knew it with no words. And I was like, all right, cool. A bunch of people that don't want to die. That's cool.
Yeah, if everyone did that, drift through this.
Yeah, so it's been, that part is definitely things I've noticed, but I have to say, because of this craziness, I'm so busy I don't have time to do shit. Because like I said, I mean, all my clients, every single one had to redo their program and their diet. So, you know, I mean, I was messaging people like 11 o'clock at night going, dude, I can't, I got to get you in the morning. I'm out. I'm white flagging on tonight. I'm sorry.
I'm about a day behind you because of all the craziness with the gym.
Yeah.
That I sort of told a few of my clients, I was like, hang tight for like, give me 2 days. We're in a little bit of a pinch right now, shutting down and all this stuff. So figuring out what we're going to do. But yeah, so actually today's, you know, like I said, my big day for that. Well, I as far as keeping my spirits up, like I haven't been locked in my house for a week or anything like that. I mean, life was pretty normal up till Thursday. But you know, definitely just spending time with Emily and the dog, you know, that's trying to just think about that as a positive, you know, life is pretty hectic. And lots of times, you know, Emily and I get home at 9 o'clock at night, you know, both of us will get home at 9 together, you know, or one's like half an hour ahead of the other. Yeah. And, you know, we got to walk the dog, play with the dog, spend some time with the dog real quick. And, you know, it goes by pretty quick. And it's been nice to have like the whole afternoon, you know, like, you know, just like that time, that just downtime that you wish you had during your normal life. And then you get it. You have to try not to complain about it too much.
Right.
You know,
no,
so
that's true. That's
I'm trying not to be a sour dick about like, you know, what's going on or anything, but try to just think, okay, this is happening. Like you said, this is happening and you have to be able to pivot. And you know, luckily our pivot is just do nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, can we just get you to do nothing? It's like,
Did you see that meme? It says, I just sat down and had a conversation with the lady I live with. It's my wife, and she's actually pretty nice. She works as a hairstylist, apparently. And he goes, but she likes the color yellow. Who the fuck likes yellow?
Yellow.
I fucking read it and lost it. I'm like, this guy's meeting his wife.
Yeah.
Apparently she's a hairdresser or something.
Yeah. I've seen a few tweets like that, too. It's like,
I'm like,
I didn't
oh my
know
God,
this,
that's
but
great.
my husband really likes so-and-so. It's like, you know, maybe we'll get to know each other a little better, man. We'll have to try to, you know, I imagine, you know, families with kids and stuff, you know, I mean, they must be losing their fucking minds.
Well, especially, so here, I don't know what they've got there, but.
Stuck in the house with your kids all day.
Well, the kids are doing homeschooling now, like online.
Yeah. Wow.
So, could you imagine you have a job where you're still going to work and maybe you do or do not have the money to have someone come to the house with the kids, and then you got to become a teacher. And I got to tell you, dude, I got like -5 patience and I understand things really, really easy. So to teach someone who wouldn't, oh, fuck. I'd be like, listen, teacher, how much does it cost to have you come to the house? You're probably double your income during this downtime.
I saw one funny Twitter. It was, I've been working from home for 4 days and my wife has already filed an HR complaint.
That's so accurate. I mean, I don't know. I think it'll be good, you know, when this is all done. I'm just hopeful that when it is, we can remember this shit. Because one thing, our gyms, all of my gyms here before they closed, had those pull-up wipes now everywhere. And everyone was doing it. Like, no one was being told. I didn't see anyone walk away from a piece of equipment without it. I'm like, can we keep that going?
Yeah. So that's
can
actually.
We keep that rolling? Because that's badass.
Yeah, it is going to keep rolling. Like, we already talked. Like, I mean, we kind of elevated the sanitation, you know, the number of bottle of sprays we had, spray bottles we had everywhere, and the amount of paper towel we had available, and all that stuff. I mean, we always had it in the gym, but you know, we like, you know, quadrupled it.
Yeah.
And we're like,
you want it to be almost impossible for someone to not do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. You know, we'll see.
It'd be nice because it's really, I mean, it's one of those things where you realize, because I mean, I'm not going to bullshit. Like, if I just got to the gym and I'm not sweating yet and I use a bench, I haven't always went and wiped down the machine with the sanitation wipes.
True.
Like, I didn't even sweat on it.
You're wearing your hoodie on your first exercise.
Yeah.
There's no
so it's
sweat.
like, I really don't, but it's funny though now, because you're like, now anything you touch, you're like, oh, I should just not be a douche and do this real quick.
Yeah, and the funny thing is now
we do it now. So I'm in the gym with one person and we're wiping the shit down. Like, I'm like, no one else is going to be in here for 2 weeks, but we're wiping it down.
I see on Facebook guys are having like, garage workouts with their two buddies and they're all standing like 5 feet apart and they got wipes and shit. It's funny.
That's good though,
Yeah. And another thing that's funny is, how we've been spraying down the benches? Like we'll do a set of leg press and we'll spray down the bench when we're done.
Right.
Those whole time we should be spraying down the fucking handles. Because they're telling us that coronavirus isn't in your sweat. You don't have to worry about sweat. Sweat's like salt water.
Exactly.
And here we are spraying the seat.
We're still not spraying the part that
spraying the seat the whole fucking time. 20 years of spraying the seat, never sprayed the handles. That's where all the fucking death is.
But hey, your pants will smell clean, so that's cool.
Yeah. Want to get your sweat on them.
So all right, so here's the deal. We're going to answer NPH_fits questions. I don't know her actual name, but she always sends me about 15 questions every time I do this. And there's apparently, I don't know where you live, girl, but there's a lot of hate between natural and enhanced bodybuilders in her mind or in where she lives.
Okay.
So I'm going to answer this and try not to be a sarcastic dick, but I also do want to make it kind of clear. So the question is, why do pros underplay the importance of drugs, make fun of natty bodybuilding when drugs are the only difference?
Well, so why do pros downplay the importance of drugs? I sort of understand what she means. Well, first of all, pros are the most genetically elite and all that stuff as well, most of them. Mm-hmm. So drugs aren't the reason they're the best. You know what I mean? Like some people's physiques are completely built by drugs,
right?
But those guys usually don't win anything. But a physique like Jay Cutler, drugs or no drugs, you're not going to beat him. See him as a natural 19-year-old at like 260, Right. So when someone says pros downplay the importance of drugs, it's probably from their perspective. Like, Kai Green's not built on drugs. Kai Green was a natural champion, but before that, he was better than most bodybuilders, period.
Do you remember when Kai,
went on here?
I talked about, well, yeah, so when I remember people would give him shit about claiming natural. And I'll be honest, in the back of my head, I was going, not so much. But then he won that Best Poser award at that Colorado show. They put $10,000 in his pocket. And I remember Sean Ray said to him, I would reinvest this money into bodybuilding. Now, you can play that in your head any way you want to. But what I heard was, I'd go buy drugs. And then you fast forward like 3 months, and Kai Green stepped on stage 40 pounds bigger.
Yeah.
The exact same physique plus 40 pounds. So the point is, we're not downplaying the fact that the 40 pounds came from adding drugs to what he was already doing.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But the fact that he was good enough that a guy like me who's been around bodybuilding his entire life assumed he was on the whole time. But I promise you, man, I meet anybody who's been in the game as long as he has and has even been on marginal amounts of drugs, and I pump them full as much as I want to, I'll be impressed if I see 7 or 8 pounds out of him in 3 months.
Yeah.
40 was ridiculous, and it proved. Same thing with Ronnie Coleman. So to answer your question, I think when they say the downplay of drugs, it's that if drugs didn't exist, Dorian Yates, Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman, these would be the best bodybuilders of all time. Still. They would just be small. Right.
Yeah.
So your top naturals, and I can't say this across the board, there might be some top naturals that, had they made different choices, would be top pros.
Oh, yeah.
But it is safe to say, I shouldn't say pros because they are pros, but they would be top with everybody else. There are guys that would mix right in. Who's the Doug
Miller?
Doug Miller.
He's
Doug
awesome.
Miller is natural.
Yeah,
and I know everyone
awesome.
likes to hate that. I've seen him train. He trains like
Dino's gym, man. That's where I met him. He was at Dino's.
Goddamn animal in the gym.
Yeah.
And he just is genetically phenomenal. And that's the flip of it. Everybody like, he's not natural. I'm like, bullshit. I know what it looks like. He is natural.
Yep.
He would be ridiculous if he went on.
Oh.
Like, he would be a top pro, boom, immediately. He's that genetically good. So I don't think anybody downplays the importance of drugs, number one. But the part of that question I didn't like was I've never in my life heard a pro make fun of a natural bodybuilder. Never.
That's not a thing to me. I don't know who's making fun of natty bodybuilders. I don't think it's the guys like in our generation at all.
Why would you make fun of a natural bodybuilder? They make a choice.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I think they make a hard choice.
I have natty clients, natural bodybuilding clients, and some of them outwork everyone else. So
yeah. So that was the part of the question I was kind of like, because I feel like there's some bitterness there. And I think oftentimes, to be completely honest, I think the bitterness that I've experienced in my time is natural bodybuilders, not all, but some, are bitter because they don't get the attention of a enhanced bodybuilder. So it's actually the reverse racism. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't like us for small. It's like, no, I don't give a shit what you do.
Right.
You know, I like a guy or girl that busts their ass, trains hard, and lives the lifestyle. Yeah. Whether you're 150 pounds on stage, and that's a big thing I've always said. If I see somebody come out sliced out of their mind on stage, I'm like, that's bodybuilding.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine, Bill. He's actually a doctor. But I helped him for a physique show last year, and he got like really hooked, right? Mm-hmm. And then he just really started getting into like manipulating his diet, like, and he was doing his own thing. And then he called me up. He's like, hey, I kind of accidentally got ripped. I think I want to do a bodybuilding show now, but I need help. I need you to help me pose.
Right.
And I was like, oh, well, fuck, let's meet up. So I met up with him, and he's 147 pounds.
Right.
And I was like excited because of how he looked.
Because he was sliced out of his head.
Yeah, the glutes were coming in, and his quads were really deep, like up to the hip, carved, like, dry, no water, caved in face, striated pad, like shredded natty, 147 pounds, And I was like excited. I was helping him pose, and that's bodybuilding, man.
Yeah.
That's bodybuilding. I don't give a shit. I told him, I said, you could, like, he was going to go to a natty show in Seattle that got canceled. And I was telling him, I'm like, you could win the overall. Like, don't go there thinking you're a little guy.
Yeah.
You're like,
some of those guys, don't be afraid. If you're that sliced, don't be afraid to jump into an untested show. You might be surprised what happens.
That's what I talked him into.
See, there it is.
He entered another show, which got canceled.
It's just not meant to be for you, Doc.
Yeah. Yeah. So I talked him into doing the fucking untested bodybuilding.
Yeah. See, but and the thing is when you're nasty, especially if you're smaller. I mean, it's tough if you're 175 pounds. But I mean, if you're nasty, you'll squeak your way into guys that are way bigger than you especially at a regional level show. You might find yourself winning because oftentimes, like, I always joke that at the regional level, super heavyweight is just a word for heavyweights that didn't come all the way down.
Right. That's what I always tell.
It's very rare that you see a real super heavyweight walk out at a local level show unless they're like 6'5".
Yeah, most of the time at the entry level shows, the most dangerous guys are all the middleweights and light heavies, right? Most of the time.
For sure.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's like an across the board thing. So, but yeah, so that's that. You got another one, or I got some ready if you want.
Yeah, you go next.
Okay, do you consider bodybuilding a sport or more of a muscular beauty pageant?
I don't consider it a sport, but I am an athlete.
Explain.
So sport is less subjective to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't like using the word sport for figure skating.
Right.
Because it's very subjective and judged. I call it a athletic competition.
Right.
I guess. I don't know. There's another term we can use. Whatever. I don't want to argue about it.
Yeah, but you're just not going to say sport. Yeah.
I just don't say sport. Sport to me is like there's a game and there's points and there's a time and there's no way you can argue it.
Right.
Like, play the replay. Oh, ball's across the line. Point. Like,
right.
I just feel there's things about sports. Bodybuilding is more subjective. And I have no problem saying that bodybuilding is half artistic, almost like extreme performance art. I have no problem with that. I have no problem saying it's half art, half athletic work. Mm-hmm. And people say, oh, it's not athletic. You're not jumping around. You have no lateral movement. That's not everything that athletic encompasses. Golfers are athletes. Yep. And golfers aren't running at all or jumping at all, but golfers have a specific athletic skill that they can perform that almost everyone else on the planet is fucking terrible at.
Right.
So, and it's extremely precise. Their brain is calculating decimal points of fucking angles. And like, I am fascinated by the brain placing that ball on the green 300 yards away.
Right.
And rolling the ball a foot from the hole.
Right.
That's not just great swing, buddy. That's way more complex. Like I read an article once on what exactly happens for that to occur.
Right.
And it also applies to, I think one of the most difficult things in the world to do is hit a fastball. A baseball player that can hit a fastball, that's fucking like, I think it's amazing what the brain can do when it's mathematically calculating distance, speed, velocity, angles, geometry. It's fucking amazing to me what the brain is capable of doing with some of that stuff. We don't have to do that stuff.
Right.
But the stuff we do in the gym does count as athletic. Like squatting 4 plates for 20 reps. I don't give a fuck what you tell me. That's something most people can't do, and it's very, very difficult, and it has an athletic application because a guy that can squat 4 plates for 20 probably hits harder than a guy who can't.
Right.
When you're playing football.
Right.
So there's transitions, there's crossover. I don't consider it a sport. I'm a type of athlete. There's things I'm horrible at. I think that athlete is like an equalizer on a stereo.
Right.
And some of them for bodybuilding, we have to crank right up, like, control, all that stuff we're doing with weights. But then some of them are floored right down to zero, and I take no credit for those.
Right.
I have no problem. But I don't really like the word sport for bodybuilding.
And I pretty much agree with that across the board. It's funny because I don't disagree with you on the athlete, but I always say because my brain still goes back to what I was an athlete as a hockey player, that I do look forward to the day that I feel athletic again.
Yes. Exactly. Athletic just means more athletic. So you're on the scale here as an athlete. I would like to dial some of those other equalizers up.
Yeah, even when you're an athlete, like, so when I played hockey, I lived on a golf course. Yeah. And I went and, got golf clubs and saw a ball and had a guy show me how to swing a club, and then 2 seconds later I was good at it. I know what you mean. Because it just connects, like, and here's a football and I can throw it. Like now I would like to see the comedy. It would be me trying to do anything of those type of athletic things, because I imagine it would be the most pathetic football throw you've ever seen in your life. Nope, that was my good hand, believe it or not. Yeah. And swinging a club, taking a shot with a hockey stick, like, whoa. My body don't move like that anymore. So I do look forward to those things, because you don't realize, I always joke, when we all got into bodybuilding, a lot of people left out some shit we were going to not realize wasn't there anymore at 300 pounds. I don't jump off a loading dock anymore. Right. I'm like, something could break. We're going to go ahead and sit on my ass and hop off the edge of this. Yeah. And it's funny because, I'm not old. If I was down 100 pounds, I'd just jump off and wouldn't even think twice. I literally look at something and I'm like, I could get hurt. Okay, that's not like everything I could get hurt. You know what I mean? Or you still have another fast twitch muscle. Like, so I'm actually, I was very fast. So one time, not even as a big bodybuilder, when I was getting into bodybuilding, I was like 220. We went to do sprints with a coach of mine because he believed in that fast twitch muscle. And my first run, he was like, fuck, like, you are fast. And my second one, I pulled a hamstring. Right. Because that muscle is now too strong for that. Like, it's not wired in that way anymore. You know what I mean? The firing orders are off. And it was funny because as soon as it happened, I was like, you're not an athlete anymore.
A lot of that is just keeping up because a lot of that, like for example, tearing a hamstring while sprinting, that's a deceleration issue. Right. You kick your leg forward and your hamstring has to decelerate your leg. And that's usually where you rip your hamstring or something. So, so it's like a neurological skill.
Right. That you don't even realize is happening.
Yeah. And you forget it. It's like, you just don't do it for so long that it just stops firing. But I think that because you were an athlete for so many years and you still have body awareness and control. Like if I tell you to move your elbows out, you know exactly what to do, you're very aware. I think I think if you just did some light movement, things would just come back. Like if you just started doing like 1 foot box jumps,
right,
you'd be up to like 4 foot box jumps in like, a couple of weeks.
Well, that's what's funny is because you've trained people too. I didn't realize because growing up, I always played on everyone I ever knew was an athlete, like a true athlete.
Right.
So one thing I always notice with athletes is if I went to the gym, like when I'm first learning how to train and you said, this is an RDL and you did it, I'd go, okay. Yeah. And now I can do it.
Yeah.
If you take someone who's not athletic, you're like, okay, what's another way I can describe this? Because fuck, you are not getting it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Because if you're an athlete, it just, okay. I mean, like you can watch it and go, okay, I can do that.
Well, that was, someone asked me the other day, they said, when you first went to the gym, was there anything you could do really well? And I was like, yeah, I could squat because I was a mogul skier.
That was right in my wheelhouse.
Like squatting down ass to grass and having my knees hit my chest and my ass hit my heels was like, okay, how many reps you want?
Right. Yeah.
With my back straight, my chest up.
Yeah. Probably better form than you could do it now.
Yeah. Well, probably easier to warm up. Yeah. Cause I remember when I first went to the gym, I was like 137 pounds or something. And here I am benching like 5 pounds a side and the bar is moving all over. Right.
Right.
But yet they put a plate aside on my back and I just squat it for 10 reps, like body weight for no problem for 10 reps. I was like, okay, I got that. How's those look? And everyone's like, you could squat.
Good news. One of the hardest things in the world you know how to do.
Yeah. But that's just an athletic crossover from mogul skiing and BMX riding. And, because when you're riding a BMX bike, remember how small those are?
Oh, fuck.
Your knees are like hitting your chest on every pedal, boom, 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 boom.
When you're hitting the ground up jumps and things,
yeah. Another thing I could do when I was young, just because most people, they just don't do them, so they're not good at them. But I could do dips, no problem. It was just dip machine, because of being on the handlebars of a BMX bike and doing tricks and stuff where you are actually doing a dip.
Right. Yeah. You didn't know it then, but that's exactly what you were doing.
Yeah. So, some things come easier to other people.
Right.
You got another question?
I've got a million.
Was it my turn?
It is your turn. I'm just firing away. Go ahead.
Oh, it says, well, I had several messages from people that want to hear more money talk. Now, I know this is kind of a weird time. I mean, fuck, I lost a bunch of money this week on investments when the market crashed.
No, you didn't. But you lost it on paper.
On paper. Yeah. I lost it on paper. Theoretically.
Do not sell your shit.
No. It's all going to come back. I had some weed stocks and some stuff and it all went down. But it'll come back. Actually, the weed stocks weed is sold out here, like all the stores.
It's probably going up right now.
Yeah, one of the jokes someone said to me the other day, they're like, you fucking white people, you're all buying all the weed, eh? And I was like, really? Because I didn't know, and he goes, yeah, I went to the store the other day and there was like 50 white people in front of me and they're buying a maximum amount of weed they were allowed to buy.
I love that. It's like, what the fuck is with you people?
Yeah,
It's just different because you can see us doing it now because it's in a store.
Yeah, exactly. It's in a store.
It's always been this way.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, but just money talk. As far as like stock market and stuff, like Jesus fuck, I'm no expert on that stuff in tumultuous times like this. But I have been watching a couple of people just giving advice. But I also don't want to be the guy that buys now thinking it's going to bounce up next week and it goes down another fucking 10,000.
So I have a couple guys that I work with that are true traders. And my brain's not wired that way, truthfully. I don't know if it's I'm not interested or what it is, but so I have someone who does it for me. I think I talked about it last week or I posted it, but I just give a certain amount of money every month, and then we have different yields, things that are high risk, things that are moderate risk, and because of my age, most of what I do is moderate. And right now it's funny, but I already know. I haven't met with him yet, but it's fucked right now. But his job, and I think this is the thing to look at with stocks and things, is it's not your job to always be up. It's your job to be up over a time period.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. Like, I understand people are freaking out, but this is going to fix. So you just chill. If you know more than I do, maybe you make some action moves now as well. Maybe he is making some moves for me I don't know about, but
yeah, my guy called me and said, "Hey, do you want to up your monthly amount?"
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, let's just do a little bit."
Right. Yeah,
because everything's on sale.
I probably should.
Yeah, everything's on sale, right? Yep. So just a little bit here. I did buy some airline stocks. I bought an airline ETA.
Right.
Transportation ETA is what I bought.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll follow that. We'll see. They took a big hit. Air Canada just laid off 5,000 people yesterday or on the weekend.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's big. I don't know what United Airlines probably laid off.
It's crazy, but they're working on the bailout for them, which is key for our country. And I think it bothers me that people don't understand this. So I see a lot of people, mom and pops like me, freaking out because why are the airlines getting bailed out and we're not? That's how they bail you out. Because if you don't pay the people who have 1.1 billion or whatever employees or million or whatever the fuck the number is, it's second only to Walmart is the airline industry in the States.
Right.
For how many people they employ.
So then your unemployment cancels out anything.
Those people to have money to put back into our businesses. If you give that money to me and all the small guys, it doesn't help because they all go out. They're not working. There's no trickle down. You know what I mean? So I wish people understood that those big bailouts are for us. It is so they can keep spending money, so they can stay employed, so we can keep doing what we do, and that will pay us. It's just not as beautiful as the check that just comes in the mail.
I had someone the other day, and I don't know if you have any more info on this because I don't know if this is accurate, but they were saying to me that this is different, that the airline bailout will be much more required and much better and much more sensible than the auto bailout was, because they said the auto bailout wasn't a failure of the entire economy and the entire industry. It was a failure of some of the big auto companies. Ford didn't take a bailout.
Yeah.
Chevy or GM and Dodge Chrysler did.
Yep.
So whereas this is every single fucking airline.
Well, they're all fucked.
It's not like two of them are doing irresponsible business and another one is doing well.
Yeah, no one made bad decisions that put them here.
Right. They were kind of explaining it to me that way, because the auto bailout thing, like I said, I don't know them, but I was sort of
Frontier dies because they fucked me on my travel last year, those pricks. So they can go. Fuck them. Sorry if you work there, but come on, you guys are dicks and you know it.
Closing the gate on you.
I could see the fucking plane.
Yeah. No, so yeah, we'll just see. But I did buy some transportation ETA. I also saw John Meadows bought the same one. I saw on his Facebook he was given a little bit of a list of the stuff he bought. But I'm not. I've just been kind of watching. I go on my.
I'm not seasoned enough at all. To if someone asked me a question, I would be like, "Here's my guy Kevin. Give him a buzz. He will tell you everything you need to know because I am not smart enough to answer that question." Yeah. That's the one thing I try not to do is speak when I don't really know. I'm like, here's what I heard from someone who knows way more than me. I should probably just have you call him.
Yeah. Whenever I give any, I did a story today about how the curve in Canada has kind of broken a bit,
Mm-hmm.
And I just gave my opinion. I was like, this could be a really good thing. We have to stay positive, blah, 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 and then I got hate messages. You're not a doctor.
I said it was an opinion. It was actually my word I used.
I actually said specifically, in my opinion, this is, it was just funny. people just, oh, fuck. Know your lane.
Right. No one wants to hear about my bench right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I could talk about squatting, but I don't think anyone cares. You know what I mean? What about a couple of gear questions?
Absolutely. Shoot, if you got one loaded, let's do it.
Okay. Do we say names on gear questions? It's almost like I got a question about hookers and escorts from
Dusty HANSHAW again.
You know,
the difference is never mind.
Yeah,
never mind.
The difference is just really marketing is the difference. Okay.
If I have a Lotus and I'm driving down Wilshire Boulevard.
Yeah. Hooker and escort. Yeah. Yeah. One is pickup. One is delivery.
I'm a delivery guy.
Do most pros stay on test year round, blast and cruise, or do some still go off the year old school?
All right. So here's back to my usual statement. I can't say what other pros do that aren't my close friends. I have talked to a couple who in the past have went all the way off. I do not. I always cruise because, again, someone who knows more than me, I see a doc all the time here. And his argument to me was when you know you're going back on, the amount of time it would take him to get my body back up to fully functioning normally is longer than the amount of time I'm going to give it before I go back on. So he said, you're actually hurting yourself by not bridging. We take 150 milligrams all the time, which is a weird number and a pain in the ass, but that's what he has me do so that the big thing is too is I feel great. So when I go from on to off, there's no hit. We run the HCT protocol, we do everything else. And you know what happens? And this is why guys don't understand. If you ever want to know which one I'm on, watch me deadlift. Because I'll still deadlift 7-8 plates, but I'll miss a rep or two if I'm off.
Right. Yeah,
my
you're pretty
strength
consistent.
Doesn't change, but the number of reps I can get does.
Yeah, yeah. I stopped going off in 2015 because I turned 40.
Right.
But I was always a really old school guy.
Old. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I used to always come off. I mean, that was when I was an amateur, It's funny, I turned pro and stopped going off.
Now that I'm here.
Now that I'm a pro and I'm retired, I'm always on. It's like
even better. You're retired.
I did things backwards. I took big off periods my whole life and then finally stopped going off. But not just because I'm over 40 now. There's no hope of my test levels being normal. So, I'll do the 200 a week and then I forget and do 10 days and all that sort of hoopla. And then, I've done some mini blasts, like I've said, to, I did one to get ready for the Olympia last year. And then I did another one there in the January, February. I thought I was going to be going to China. So yeah, just like little things like that. But as far as I usually also have the younger guys that I work with that, maybe they're working towards their first show. I'll have them go off, Oh, Dusty froze. You there?
Yeah, I'm waiting. You're coming back. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm assuming that they just heard everything there. I did not hear everything you just said there, other than the fact that you were.
What did you miss?
We just said that you were going off when you were younger. Now you went into the fact that you did little mini blasts before the.
Yeah. But I was just saying the younger guys I help, I make them go off. Mm-hmm. I think that going off is important for the younger and newer bodybuilders because you learn a lot about your body when you go off too, like about recovery. It reminds you about a lot of things. You learn how to fight in the gym and really struggle to get those reps. And also too, they do bounce back a lot faster, right? You get like a 25-year-old guy doing his second cycle. I mean, you can go to the doctor 2 months later and his test levels are normal.
Right, that's true.
So that's another thing. But, once you're, how many cycles deep?
Don't go there.
1?
Yeah. I'm on 3 now.
Yeah.
No, but I think, the one thing I guess that you said that I think is key, and this is something I know we both do, so I'm just going to answer this part for you, is unless a client starts a prep with me, like as in the moment they hire me, we're in prep, the very first thing I do is take them off. Now it'll be down to either 0 or at least, or baseline, depending on, like you said, their age. And the reason for that is I always argue that drugs hide mistakes.
That's what I mean. Yeah. There you go.
So guys don't, I'm telling you right now, when the only thing you've got is your OTC supplements, your sleep, your food, and those things, you become a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Because you have to. Your meals are on point. Your supplements are on point. You're not forgetting shit because you need every little thing you have. And then when you're growing that way, you've now set in place that foundation. I always, because I have clients that'll ask me, they're 10 weeks in and they're like, and they're not like drug users. They're not dying. They're just kind of like, this is weird because they've had other coaches. And I'm like, well, I already know what that does.
Right.
I know what will happen if I put you on 500 milligrams of Cypionate.
Yeah.
Like, I already know. So let's get you growing without it. And then watch what happens when you go back on that, because you're not going to stop the foundation shit. It's now life. This is just how you live. And if you find yourself starting to stop, understand you're fucking yourself.
I got another good one here. What's the most common response after you get a client and they start training and things start going well?
Most common response that I get is this is a lot more basic than I thought.
Yeah. And another one that I've been getting, that I get a lot, is my workouts are half as long.
Right.
And it's weird because these guys are in there like, and I see it like, I mean, obviously I got some clients that train at the same gym, right? So I actually visually see it. But there's like a couple guys where they would be training when I would get there. We would smash legs.
They destroy them.
Like quads, hams, fucked. And then they'd still be training when we were done.
Right.
and obviously legs being the longest day with like 10 minutes between quads and hams and like a lot of fuck around warm-ups and stretches. And so that's what I mean about the leg day. It's like a half hour longer than the actual workout.
For sure, yeah.
And they're still doing like chest and buys or whatever, right? So and then I start working with them, and the first thing they say is, "Oh my God, my workout was 55 minutes."
Right.
But then the body weight starts to climb and the strength starts to go up. And then they start to realize that they were just like wasting so much time. So the efficiency thing, this is simpler and this is shorter.
Yep. And I think that's, what's nice about that though. And for you young guys and girls that are coaching, here's what you have to understand that for some reason is getting lost in our industry. People pay for results. I've never lost a client because it was simple. I've never had a client go, oh, well, I can do this myself then. Like, I'm still managing all of these things. There's this desire to keep it really weird and really like, you need me. Dude, they don't give a fuck. They want results. If they're changing and getting results and their financial situation allows them to stay, I have clients that I've had for 5 years right now. Yeah. And we're still progressing. We're still making changes. Cole, I don't know if you saw, I should send you his pictures, but his front double is the ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life. Just fucking, it's like second only to mine as the ugliest front double you've ever seen.
It is better than yours.
How could it not be? So we made some tweaks this whole year in the off season, and he sent his pictures the other day. I said, your fucking front double looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like, not better. It's a shot I want to see you hit now.
Yeah.
We've been working together for 3 or 4 years now, and we just found the things that changed his physique. I literally I pulled it up and I'm like,
yeah,
fuck, now it's way better than mine.
It's cool when you see a pose. Like, I got a client who has a back double now.
Right.
And he's still prepping. Is it funny
though when they hit it though and you're like,
yeah.
Can you do that again?
Yeah, he came and trained back with us a few times like last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first thing he said the next day was, my back's the sorest it's ever been.
Right.
And then obviously that sticks in the brain.
Yep.
And then, 8 months later, he comes and poses for me the other day and he's got a back double now.
Yeah. It's awesome when you see that shit though, right?
Yeah.
You know what Cole said to me though? You'll love this. So I sent him back. I ignored the entire check-in and I sent back, your front double's fucking nuts now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, check-in.
I'll answer the other shit later. But so
yeah.
He sends back, he goes, I just remind myself I still suck, so I keep going. And I'm like, I like that.
Yeah.
Like, because I know what he means. It's like he was so obsessed over a few things that now they're locked in that he still tells himself they're not good. And I'm telling you, like, now, if I sent you the picture and said, "Oh, this shot used to be terrible," you'd be like, "It probably was not as good as it's now, but it wasn't terrible." You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's all sorts of stuff. Like I had one of my happiest moments this week because it was a very stressful week with clients.
Yes.
Like, I mean,
yes.
they're fucking worried, right? They're texting, "Oh my God, my gym closed," and like it's a very stressful week. So it was a heavy week with all that stuff going on and shows being canceled. And my one client, his show got canceled 4 days out.
Yep, I had one of those.
And so I got to give Callan a shout out, by the way. His show got canceled on Tuesday, like we kind of thought it would. But he's like, "You know what? I want to finish this."
I saw you posted a picture, didn't you?
So he dieted all the way up, did everything. We did some extra carbs, did drop some water, and he booked his photo shoot for Saturday morning.
That's awesome.
Got up in the morning, took pictures. I told him, like, do this, do this, do this. And he went and he messaged me after. He's like, "Photo shoot went awesome,"
Nice.
So there's been some really happy stuff. Like that was a highlight. And then I have, I mentioned on last week's show, I had like a guy who was 400 pounds.
Yes.
And my favorite check-in of the week was last week. I think he was 372 or something like that.
Right.
And this week he's like 367 and a picture of his burger.
I love it.
He's like burger and fries or whatever he had, a burger and big thing of pasta or something like that. Because I send him out to eat once in a while, like every week,
right. Yeah.
And he's like 367 burger, pasta, and I was like, "That's okay. That makes me happy," you know. So
earned not given right there.
Yeah, he wasn't going to let anything stop him. So it's you gotta, the happy stuff comes too.
Oh, for sure. That's why it's fun though. But I think that's like you said, those are the common things, and I think it's because we only had an education from either the dudes we knew locally, or some semi-garbage information from Flex Magazine, and then eventually it became up into like forums. But you had to figure out, the nice thing about forums that I enjoyed back in the day was they were intra-policed. If you didn't know shit and you were talking out of your ass, you'd get fucking slapped right out of there. Like, so you couldn't do what you can do on Instagram, which you're on your page, you're protected, you can delete people, you can do whatever. And if you just get enough people listening to you spout bullshit that's just wrong,
you get chased out.
On Instagram, you're safe. So it sucks. You know what I mean? So it's nice that, when guys do just start to get results, they see like, because I usually tell them up front, like, you're going to be really surprised. It's going to be basic as fuck, and you're going to change really quickly. And enjoy. You know what I mean? We are not going to hang off of anything weird except for this week because we got no gym. So, all right, let me see. I got to hit at least one more here because I just saw one I wanted to hit. Okay, this is one that might get us in trouble, so I like it.
Good way to end the show.
Yeah. Your opinion, and then I'll do mine, of where female physique sports are going across the board. And obviously I'm talking on the more extreme side here. So figure, physique, bodybuilding.
Well, initially they got rid of women's bodybuilding to tone everything right down, and they wanted physique to be the next conditioning contest without all the size.
Yep.
But then they started getting bigger and freakier, and it started looking like it's heading towards women's bodybuilding.
Yep.
So is that, you think, part of the reason why we're going to bring it back this year, bring women's bodybuilding back, is to push physique back down to where they initially started with like Dana Lynn Bailey and that sort of stuff? Because now the figure girls are kind of looking like the physique girls were when Dana was winning. Mm-hmm. Like Dana would be figure now if she went back, except she said she never really had the figure shape, but
I know what you mean though. Yeah.
For
muscularity.
Yeah. So it shows how hard it is to do anything physique competitive without allowing progress.
Right.
That's why men's bodybuilding is what it is. Like, they're trying to get as big as they can, but they still have to keep the physique good, but there's no limit on their size. Like, You know, is someone going to, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
When you start limiting people, like having a sprint race, but telling everyone they have to run at least 10 seconds.
Right.
That's really difficult. And us as humans, we want to see more. So, you know, it's just a natural progression. I think it's like a built-in, it's a bug, not a feature. But right. our brains require more to be impressed. Right. And I think that's why the women's categories keep driving up. And unless they're just going to, what do you think? Flat out drug test them? I don't know. What are you supposed to do?
So here's the tricky thing for me, and I agree with everything you said, but I have a different angle on it.
Please do. You also live in the States, and you're surrounded by a lot.
So here's
more.
Well, no, I mean we actually agree 100%, but my angle is, I mean, how I look at it. Right. I look at it as we're making the same mistake twice.
Yeah, essentially.
So we let bodybuilding grow to the point that
once again I use too many words.
Yeah, I say we, you know, the sport, let it grow to where it's like. Kim, I can't say her last name, but Chad's wife, yeah, she did not make herself Miss Olympia. They did. So she became the freakiest, nastiest thing, and so everyone second place down said, okay, that's the standard.
Well, Dorian was Mr. Olympia, and she showed up with the same conditioning.
Yeah, and then the same freakiness, and then it was like, well, we need to get bigger and harder and bigger and harder, and how do we do that? Well, you do that through drugs, you do that. Women is different, dude. You're bombing men. Yeah. End of story. So without saying way too many words, I think we're making huge mistakes in all the divisions because I don't want to see that progress happen. And I, as an athlete, here's the thing, and I will openly admit this, and Johnny Jackson and I had this conversation before as well. Things I said I would never do when I got into bodybuilding, I've done.
Right.
Because, and not terrible, trust me, I can post my blood work, like everything's fine, but I've definitely pushed the envelope further than I thought I would because you're still a competitor and you get in the competitive mindset. Even someone like me who is a realist and knows where he stands, I still want to be the best Dusty I can be. So, yeah, all right, I'll do that. Didn't think I would do. And
it's only 5 weeks.
You know, and you do that. Well, guess what? The women do it too.
Yeah.
But the difference is, I think what saddens me is watching them change in ways that are never going back.
One of my favorite quotes, she's completely unaware of this, but Victoria Falconer, Scotty's girlfriend. I know Victoria very well. I don't want to get her titles wrong, but PhD and a bunch of, PhD. That's
super smart.
Super smart. But one of her quotes was, a lot of the females make the mistake of worrying about side effects of steroids. Those aren't the side effects. Those are the effects. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And when you look at steroids that way, it's pretty sobering about what some of these women are taking. You know, you get the girls out there doing the 10 to 20 mgs of Anavar for their figure show. And then you get the girls out there doing tren.
Yep.
And, you know, T-ball. And which is essentially like, what is that? Methyl, almost methyl test.
Yeah, it's test basically.
You know, like, so, and testosterone, they're taking prop and they're taking this and they're taking that. And those aren't side effects they're experiencing. Those are effects. That's the advertised effect. That's on the,
that's what it promised to do.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, when you put a steroid into a male body, you get side effects. When you put a steroid into a female body, you just get the effects.
Yeah, and they look like side effects to the things you didn't want.
Yeah.
You know what Jose Raymond used to say that I always really loved is, because, you know, a lot of coaches and people in the industry will say, there's no sides of this one, whether it's Anavar or whatever.
Right.
And his answer was really simple, and I always liked it. He said, anything that can make a positive effect has a negative.
Has to have one.
That's just the way it works when you put it in the system. So, and I always remember that because I used to be of that same belief, like, it's 10 milligrams of Anavar. Because when I was starting coaching, every girl came to me, that's what they were already doing. So I was like, oh, that's normal, that's nothing. And you don't see the sides as much as you do when they start getting into, like you said, the test and the trend and then this and that. You see the hairlines and the face change and just, you know, and the big one is the voice. I think people don't look at and go, I always joke that, you know, no disrespect to anybody, but we all have the same voice in our industry. within reason. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine as long as people are really thinking about that when they make the decision. I got no issue with it. I love muscle on women. I love the looks, all those things. I just wish there was less downplaying of like, it's nothing. No, it's a really big fucking decision.
Right.
You know, because the athlete in you will take over at some point, especially if you're good, and your decisions will get less and less based on the overall view and more about, I got to catch that fucking rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, good point, man. It's very true. And I would like to see, bikini essentially look natural, but it's a long ways from that now.
You know what it is though, man? And this is something that we discussed a couple weeks ago about male bodybuilding. Do you know what would fix all of this? If we weren't in a fucking hurry.
Right. Yeah.
If all athletes would say, or even just the ones like, listen, girls, if you're listening and you're feeling like you're getting shot down on the idea you should compete, no, just don't be in a rush to turn pro in 2 years. Take 4 years to get there. Take 5 years to get there. Keep it, whatever it is. I'm not saying
you could also just,
natural.
you could take 16 years to get there too. That's
whatever. You could take 27 second places, whatever you're into. But truthfully, like if you
really into that,
if you go slow, not unachievable physiques, not all of them.
Right.
And I'm not saying natural, I'm just saying a more thought out progress. You can get a lot of these things if you've got the good genetics and things. But I think the biggest problem is the same reason. I mean, I will say for myself, I always used to say, what's the fastest point from point A to point B? That's what I need to do. And my physique would have been better if it took me 3 or 4 more years to get where I am now. I would have had a smaller waist. My hip structure would be better because I was plowing food like no one's business. I'm not drugs. I was eating painfully for years.
Forced eating.
If you go back and look at early Dusty pictures, 2005, I never had a small hip structure, but my waist was way tighter. It was food. And the never-ending blast that throws off the midsection. And it's going to be fun this year because I didn't eat much for a whole year. My physique is way better than it was 2 years ago right now because I didn't do that. But it definitely shows, like, man, if I could go back, like I told another coach the other day, if I could take a new client and say, you got to trust me, but only do what I say, and I promise you it's going to take way longer than you thought, and you'll be glad. Even with bodybuilders. Your finish line will be better than it would have been if we hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's good. Let's end on this one here. Just because we both know him, Byron Lopez.
Yes.
He got one more question in before we end the show. We already talked about it, but let's just summarize for those listening. If someone was in the middle of prep right now, what would you do? And what I would do is I would do what we talked about. I would get a squat rack. I would just go on Craigslist and I would just put it on my credit card. I wouldn't give a fuck. I would get a squat rack, an adjustable bench, a barbell, and at least 225. And I would put it in my spare bedroom or my parking spot or wherever the fuck I had on my fucking balcony. I don't know. I'd find a way. But that if you can get that, you can still train and get through this crisis. So stay positive. I know that's, with a little bit of cash, but I'm.
Oh, yeah. No, and I agree 100%. And let's be straight here, man. Everyone will do what they have to do. When you're set to do this, you find a way. And I do agree. Like, I think there's certain things, even if you got to hit a credit card with it, because I know how serious you guys are about this.
I'm just thinking about me, right?
Yeah,
I would have done anything.
Do it. Yeah, like I would have too. Back in the day, if I didn't have money, it would have already been done. And also keep in mind, you got a neighbor, you got a friend that's got a spare garage. You just tell him, dude, can I use your garage for like 2 months?
Yeah. Maybe you let him use the equipment. You know what I mean?
Just whatever it is. But yeah, if you do that, man, I mean, there will be things about this. This is a time. It's just like investors and businessmen. This is actually what separates. Hard times actually shake out the weak, and that's what people don't think of. I'm not talking about death of people in business and things like that, because we're all going to go through it. But when we're out the other side completely, you've got some of them are going to be weak because they were new and there's just nothing they could do about it. But if you were cemented in the game, you'll come out stronger. And you're going to find yourself, on, like you said, you're going to find yourself on that stage with a bunch of guys who took 2 weeks to fuck off or 3 weeks to fuck off and then decided to jump in anyways, and you got a 3-week head start.
Yep. Try to find the silver lining in this.
For sure.
And on that note, I'm going to go watch an afternoon movie with my girlfriend and my dog.
About the end of the world. That a boy.
Last time I watched a movie in the afternoon was like fucking, 20 years ago.
I was going to say, was that time your TV was on in the middle of the day?
Even turned on. Crazy. Well, I know it's been a bit of doom and gloom this week, and I know we talked about the fucking bullshit, and I hope it wasn't a downer of an episode for, a bit of it. We didn't even address quarantine sex, Dusty. So let's keep track of our amazing volume of quarantine sex that we're going to have over the next week. All the unbelievable carnage that will be. Oh, I'm talking about my place. I don't know about your place.
What's happening here? What is happening here? Look at the size of this forearm.
Damn. Well, why is it still pumped?
Frank McGrath, who?
Yeah. Oh, man. We got to get him on the show. Yes. Okay. So we'll talk next week. We got a guest, but we'll compare notes on our quarantine sex. See who's been banging more.
Yeah,
okay.
There we go.
Thanks, buddy.
Till next time.
It's just bodybuilding.